many more commodities than we have fresh fruit and vegetable. We really believe that we need to get the community voice back into our food system. That in order to really address childhood obesity, we have to have a local food system. If we look at our neighborhoods, when Ron had you all ask how many fast food restaurants you had in comparison to fresh food outlets, well, on average, a low-income community has 4 times as many fast food outlets as they do fresh produce outlets in their community. And that's going to stay the way it is if our food system maintains its current status and doesn't change. If we start making a connection back to our local farmers, where we're bringing them in either through farmers markets, or we have some type of mechanism in place like a centralized hub where we can start getting to build the supply and demand for local farmers. One, to keep them on their property so they're actually continuing to grow these healthy foods. 2, so that they are being able to continually feed their products into both schools, healthcare systems, government institutions that can buy en masse. We're going to maintain them on their land, and we're going to start to get healthy foods in a more easily and more readily supply in our daily food system, grocery stores. We kind of want to change things back to where they were about in the 1920s. If you were to go to a smaller grocery store, most of that produce was sourced locally, making sure that we are back in touch with our food system. So, food solutions solve more than one problem, and I'll get into a little bit more of the concretes of how we're going about changing this and how we're focusing. I stole these principles from a researcher at Michigan State, and he says that a healthy food system includes community food security for all residents. So we may not be talking necessarily about farmers, but maybe having community gardens as a way to ensure that community residents have food security. That it's community-based, so that we have an ongoing local conversation with our farmers and with our government, and making sure that we have adequate land. It's locally integrated, which means that it's not purely local, because if we were to get into an issue of if we had some type of natural disaster, we would want to make sure that we had other resources that were able to come into our community to supply for that. It's fairly seasonable. There's more opportunities than problems that are invited through the food system. That it's healthy across layers, meaning that we are maintaining the health of our soils, our plants, and our community, and that it's diverse. I think like any other good community or environment, it has to be diverse. The diversity actually spurs health. So what are we doing? And I will build this more from our childhood obesity perspective. We are really trying to identify what the key levers for change are. Again, we really can't focus on everything. We do have mechanisms set up so that we work in each of the domain work group areas to affect change in that community. We're also trying to identify those bigger levers that are across all domain areas. So we are a part of the San Diego Food Systems Working Group, which really is bringing together public health, elected officials, farmers, agricultural advocates, hunger advocates, all together in the same room to talk about how do we create a local food system. We're doing that by creating an assessment of what we already have, what is our production capability, how can we further build it, what do we need, and also developing a comprehensive plan based on that. That ensures that there's better health and well-being for all of our residents, that there's agricultural stewardship, not just of our land, but also of our water supplies and resources, and that it's thriving communities and it's sustainably, it's economic sustainability as well. We want to ensure, again, that the farmers can actually participate this in a long-term basis. What we've identified so far are the key levers for change is this farmers market hub concept. Where that if we can build a collaborative, you might have heard Jonathan from Terra Miguel speak earlier this weekend, if we can create collaboratives between our farmers who are currently, they may be only growing 2 or 3 crops, so they may not be able to source the school local foods because the school has much higher demands for a particular fruit or vegetable, or they need